Back when I was in college and playing the lead role in a live-action remake of Dragon Ball Z, I used this app called Mint to track my spending, my expenses, and my income. It was automated, it had nice graphs, it did its job. But what ended up happening was that I would log on once in a while, look at my monthly expenses, tell myself I would spend less on useless gadgets, and immediately forget about that promise the very next day. So for the past year, I've used a more manual method to track my spending and investments, and as a result, I'm now a lot more mindful of my personal finances. In this video, I'm gonna go over this extremely simple personal finance tracker I built on Google Sheets and show you how by just spending 10 minutes a month, you can be more intentional about your spending habits. Let's get started. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jeff, and quick disclaimer up front, I'm not an expert on personal finance or investing. I'm just a control freak, so trust me only for my tips on organization. First off, I needed this template to do 3 things. Number 1, give me a rough idea of my monthly spending to show me any trends in my spending habits. Number 2, show me my net worth based on my expenses and investments to make sure it's going up. And number 3, it had to be something I would spend 10 minutes a month on max, or I knew I wasn't gonna do it. Diving right into the tracker, the first tab here is an empty template you can start using immediately. I've actually linked this down in the description below, so you can make a copy and follow along if you'd like. From a template logic standpoint, you wanna update one row once a month on the first of every month, but the data you input should be for the previous month, since those numbers will be finalized. For example, if today is September 1st, then I will be updating the row for August. From a structural standpoint, and I'm gonna jump over to a fictional example here, the objective of the table on the left-hand side is to show me at a glance my total monthly spend. Column D sums up my overall 3 expense buckets and takes out what I call reimbursables. I'll explain what all of this means in a little bit. Moving over to the right-hand side here, this table shows me my net worth, which is basically adding together all my assets, like my savings and my stocks, minus all my liability, like what I owe on my credit card. Now that you have the general gist, let's break down what each one of these columns mean. Starting again from the left. First thing you want to do on the first of every month is to create a new row. On Mac is Command Option Plus. On Windows, I think it's Control Shift Plus. Year and month are self-explanatory, obviously. And for rent, let's say it says constant and 10,000. All this is in RMB, by the way, not US dollars, because I currently reside in China. And because I reside in China, we have something called Alipay and WeChat, the 2 largest payment platforms here. And I would spend most of my money through these 2 apps. This template works no matter where you live. Don't worry. Keep watching. So what does spend minus split bill mean? Well, to give a very simple example, let's say you and your 3 friends go out to eat. The total comes out to be $100 and you pay with your card. But your friends all pay you back $25 each to split the bill. Technically, you paid out $100, but you only spent $25. So if that's all you spent all month, what you would input is equal 100 minus 75 split bill, the money you got back, and the $25 here reflects your actual expense. Now, what's cool for both the Alipay and WeChat apps is that they expected this to happen. So for every month, I'll literally open up the transactional page on either one of these apps, and it shows me on the same page what I paid out and what I received back. Very user-friendly. So what I would literally do is for the Alipay column, deduct the split bill income, which is 0 for this particular example, from the actual spend here on the left. And this gives me the final spend. Now, I'm assuming most of you watching this video do not use Alipay or WeChat, but the logic is the same. If you have a credit card or checking account, look at your monthly expense statement and deduct what your friends Venmo'd you, and that's what you actually spent. Now, moving over to the WeChat column, how is it possible for there to be a negative amount here? Well, I might have paid through Alipay, but my friends sent me back money on WeChat since that's a social app here. And since I spent 0 on WeChat, but I received back $537, 0 minus 537 is negative 537. And this negative amount offsets the positive spend from the Alipay part. So my formula here that adds these 3 columns together still makes sense. Moving over to the column I deduct specifically, the reimbursable column. As some of you might have already guessed, this is money you get reimbursed for. So you didn't really spend this money. For example, in June, let's say I booked a hotel for my dad and I got to deposit back after my dad checked in. Or in May, I paid for a doctor's appointment, but I got reimbursed by the health insurance company a few days later. So why do I bother with this? Well, no matter what app you use, WeChat, Alipay, or your bank's mobile app, there's probably a way to sort your top spending items in descending order. But the app itself is not smart enough to recognize the reimbursable ones. So I manually take them out in my total spend formula. For the yellow comments column, this is where I take a deep breath and face the cold hard reality that I sometimes spend money on very useless things. You don't see it here, it's fictional, but I do. From that descending expense chart I talked about just now, I'll literally just list out the top 5 most expensive items I spent money on that month. And this really gives me an opportunity to reflect on whether those items, apart from food and transportation, were smart purchase decisions or not. And if I regret buying something, typing it out, having it in front of me, has really helped me become more mindful about my spending habits. And since starting this exercise a year ago, I've definitely spent way less on electronics, which is something I used to buy a lot more of. Let me know if that's you as well. Now, I just want to re-emphasize, this total spend tracking system isn't perfect, but compared to budgeting apps like Mint, you're not giving up any of your data if you're security conscious, and you can use this in any country around the world. I'd love for you to let me know down in the comments if this is something you're already doing, or perhaps you're following along this template right now. Moving over to the net worth side of things, you might first notice I own a few different currencies, RMB, HKD, and USD. And obviously I need to convert them all into a single currency to figure out how much I'm worth financially, because in the eyes of my parents, I'm priceless. So all I need to do here is to fill out the dark gray columns. For my bank columns 1, 2, 3, and 4, I would deduct what I owe on the credit card from the amount I see on my bank statement. Very simple. You just need to log in to your app or account to see those numbers. For my 2 brokerage accounts, Webull and Interactive Brokers, I will just log in and write down how much my stocks are worth on that particular day, since it obviously fluctuates. But again, this just lets me see at a glance how my portfolio is doing over time. Quick note here, back in the States, I mainly use Robinhood, but as you can see, I recently made the switch over to Webull. To be very honest, I think the user interface on Robinhood is a lot simpler, but Webull provides me with a lot more data and analysis to work with. I do have an affiliate link with Webull, so I'll link that down below. If you sign up using that link, you get 2 free stocks or something. If you're new to investing and you would like to get started, I highly recommend you check out Andre Jik's channel. He's entertaining, he's good looking, and I think he tries his best to be as objective as possible. So he basically shares all 3 traits with me. Alright, back to net worth. Column T. If you work at a company where you receive stocks as a form of compensation, I recommend you include the vested portion as part of your net worth, because that's the part you can sell immediately and convert to cash. Now that's all done, I need to convert all this back into RMB. So using column N here, Hong Kong dollars to RMB as an example, I have a formula where I sum up the 3 Hong Kong dollar columns and multiply that with the Google Finance currency converter formula from Hong Kong dollars to Chinese yuan. And this gives me the total RMB amount. This updates in real time as well, by the way. I repeat the process for US dollars, and I simply sum these 4 RMB columns up to figure out my net worth. If you don't need to convert currencies, the logic still holds true. And also, some of you might have already noticed, I don't track my sources of income in this spreadsheet. So if that's something you'd like to learn more about, let me know down in the comments. To wrap things up, download this template, schedule in a 15-minute monthly recurring event on your calendar, and commit to filling this out for at least 3 months. Yes, it's a bit more manual, not 100% accurate, but I found that going through this once a month has really helped me become more aware of my spending habits, and I usually go into the next month with a bit more intention. See you on the next video, and in the meantime, have a great one.